Hey guys, I'm Leigh Scheps and welcome to Up with the Curtain, where on this show the curtain goes sideways. We are at Broadway Con. I've got Marc Kudisch here.
Hi.
I just want to say, you guys weren't here yesterday, but I was in here waiting to do an interview.
Yeah.
And you had a workshop. It ran out of time, and he came in here and was still working with these students for quite a while. You didn't say, no, I'm done, let's stop.
No,
you kept going.
When you're doing that kind of work, you can't put a time clock to it. We ran out of time in the room. They had committed to wanting to work on material. So it's like, let's find another space, let's finish the work. And I don't know how long that's going to take.
I give you a lot of props for that. I thought it was amazing. So
no, it's fun for me.
Really
it's like
nice.
One of my favorite things. I love doing that.
I want to ask you a few Broadway-related questions.
Okay.
All right. So the one thing that we're going to be looking forward to in 12 months, Bye Bye Birdie Live.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I want to ask you,
Oh, my God.
someone who's played Conrad Birdie.
Yeah, twice.
What do you want to see at a Bye Bye Birdie Live?
I'll tell you honestly, if you're going to do Bye Bye Birdie, you have to know why you're doing it. I think it's one of my favorite plays. I love doing that, but I knew why I wanted to do it. I had a very specific idea of who I thought Conrad was, not just for me, but in terms of like what he stood for in our society. I know that sounds a little heady, but I only think that Bye Bye Birdie works if you approach it genuinely from what do you have to say right now through this play, as opposed to just doing it because it's a great fond memory of a show that we all grew up with.
So why did you want to do it? Let's talk about the China Phillips TV version.
Well, let's talk about the tour that I did.
Okay, all right. Well, that was an all-star
led me to
cast.
that.
Yes, sure. Go
But
ahead.
I wanted to do Birdie back in '91 because it was being directed by an incredible director, Gene Saks, who was like, for theater, music, and straight plays, one of our founding fathers in terms of direction. He was also a great actor, a brilliant man. I wanted to work with him. Tommy Tune, Anne Reinking, it was this incredible cast. But more to the point, what I love about Bye Bye Birdie is it's a play about how we treat our icons. Like when you look at the life of Elvis, or you look at the life of Michael Jackson, or at the time, I was basing my Conrad Birdie on Mike Tyson. So here is this raw, powerful presence. Put him in a ring, and no one can do what he does, and we all want to watch him. But the minute he's out of the ring, don't let him talk. Don't let him talk. Because socially, he's a baby. And that's what, to me, Bye Bye Birdie was about. Wind him up and set him go, but the minute that he's not doing that, you try to corral him. You try to take this unbridled energy and just use it for when it's, useful for your purposes. That was my idea of Conrad. No one wanted him to talk, no one let him talk. And then finally, he's just a kid who wants to go out and have a kid's life, which is why he gets in trouble. Because no one lets him figure out how to not get in trouble. And everyone assumes all he's going to do is get in trouble. And I found that fascinating for me in terms of how to play that role. I think Birdie is a reflection. The guys wrote it originally as a satire on rock and roll. Both Charles and Leigh didn't like rock and roll. They were from the classical world. So it was their way of satirizing something they thought was stupid. When they wrote the song, and this is from Charles and Leigh, when they wrote the song One Last Kiss, they wanted to write the dumbest, stupidest song that was repetitive and meaningless. Because that's what they thought rock and roll was. And guess what the biggest hit in that period of time song was from that show? One Last Kiss. Everyone recorded it. So there are interesting reflections between art and life. I always look for those things. If you're going to do Bye Bye Birdie now, in our society now, what is reflective now that is useful?
So who do you think Conrad Birdie should be representing?
Honestly, I don't know. Birdie's tough. He's a tough role to play because people want to stunt cast the role, which is always a mistake because he should just go out and find some young kid who's really talented, the reason they asked me to do the ABC film of it was because I know that they had talked to Harry Connick at the time about it and some other people. but the producer said, I don't want people to look at you and say, oh, you're so-and-so playing Conrad. I want people to look at you and go, Conrad Birdie. And that's why they cast me. And I remember when we were shooting it in Vancouver, I was walking through the streets of Vancouver, and everyone was literally going, Mr. Birdie, Mr. Birdie. Because no one knew who I was, per se. But literally, they were treating me, because we were there for 6 weeks shooting, like I was Conrad Birdie, like I'm a real person. Find that person, find that kid, find somebody who has something unique about themselves for now, and who cares? And I would love it if that person was... I would love it if that person was a minority.
Here we go. Oh.
I would love it if that kid was Latin, or a Black American, or I would love it if they would just stretch. Then some of the issues with Birdie would have more connotation.
Very interesting. And you know, that time when that ABC movie musical came out for ABC, there was like a span of like a few different musicals. But now they're doing it live, so I guess they're going to continue with that. I think Once Upon a Mac.
I think it's great. I think it's exciting. I do. I love the live aspect of it. But if you're not going to show the audience like all the time, or you're not like I'm still not sure I quite get the value of it being live, but like sort of studio-esque, when you could just as well shoot it live in front of an audience and then actually have a couple of performances and then edit it so it's smooth and easy, and then it's still live because it's in front of an audience. You know, but I mean, it's this huge production and it's so gorgeous. Shoot the production. That's just me. But I love Birdie, and I think Jennifer Lopez is a perfect.
Yeah, she's gonna be good.
But I mean, it's right. It's right. You know what? Look, let me tell you something. When we were in, and this is probably going to go long, so you'll have it.
It's just Facebook.
But when we were doing Birdie back in 1991, and we started at Long Beach Civic Light Opera before we did our huge national tour. This is true. Ann Reinking was playing Rosie. Now, you're not going to ask for somebody better than Ann Reinking. I remember when the reviews came out the next morning after that, scathing, because we did Spanish Rose, and Mama had all of these, ethnic comments about who Rose was, which was acceptable back in 1960, and we all laughed at it. But in 1991, and it went literally, none of us were ready. The Latin community, which is huge in Los Angeles, just took us to task. And the critics took us to task.
And what do you think they're going to do this time around? I mean, it's going to be more of an issue.
Well, there are rewrites that were done. The minute we opened in Long Beach and we heard all the criticism, they wrote new music for the show. Because they realized if it was a black actress, we would have been hyper aware of it. But because it was a Latin character, we weren't. And that said something back then. You know? Still says something today. But it was good that we got slapped across the face, because then they went in and they rewrote with the same intention of the character without having to have it have a negativity against any ethnicity. Now, we have a truly appropriate ethnic actress in that role, which I think is fantastic. So she can sing Spanish Rose because she is Spanish Rose, right?
Yes.
But the other music that they're going to do is probably the stuff that we created from that tour, that replaces some of the material that Mama had it's just not appropriate anymore. So I'm curious to actually see what version of the script they use.
Do you think they'll reach out to you for some advice? No.
Not at all. Nor should they. I've already had my hand in that, but my hand's already in it.
Right.
Because the new music that's in that is because of the productions that we did, both on tour and then in the film with Vanessa. All of that material they use now is from the work that we did then.
That you originated, that
I was a part of the creation.
And then kind of part of the dialogue you had a few minutes ago. Part of the creation.
Yeah.
I want to play a quick game with you. We could talk about Bye Bye Birdie all day long. I want to play this fun game I've been playing with everyone. It's called the Broadway Rorschach game. Okay. So I'm going to show you a playbill. You have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So here we go.
Really?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's it. That's the first thing.
What else do you say?
or just name the headline.
Very funny friends.
Great.
Haven't seen it. Wish I had.
Oh, it was so good. We talk about it every day. All right.
Right?
Yeah.
I love her. I've known her since she's a kid. Love her very much.
All right, and I think this is the last one.
Oh, best revival of Damn Yankees ever.
Yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. Marc
Is that what
Kudisch.
everybody says?
No, I'll tell you. Everyone, if you watch the videos, everyone says baseball kiss, and they don't know what the playbill is. And I'm like, come on. All right, Marc Kudisch, thank you so much. That's it for Up with the Curtain. See you next time.